Hi guys, Anne here, Quantum Heart Living. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, we continue along this huge transformational journey where so many of us, especially those that tune into me, are rapidly moving through timeline shifts, moving into higher consciousness energies almost on a daily basis. It's very hard to keep track of the massive amount of information and changes that come in on such a regular basis. Now, over the past couple days, we have been really probably spending time a lot within ourselves and digging into some of these subconscious patterns, a lot to do with our past experiences, and trying to release the pressure on ourselves for those experiences. Two, real primary forces, messages that have been coming through very strong and clear is number one, our purpose, our soul purpose, and number two, truth, the higher truth. So if we are paying attention, if we are able to tune out the rhetoric, we're able to tune out the distractions. This is a key point to this journey, is we have to really, really pay attention to what is distracting us, because it can be people that pull you off course. It can be information, it can be news, but keep in mind that there are some energies within other individuals in your life that part of their mission is actually to make sure that you don't get the peace and constantly provide distraction so that your truth, your higher purpose and calling continues to elude you. So be aware that does occur more often than you think. So the more that we give ourselves freedom to really listen to what is coming in, the more clarity we get and the higher our frequency becomes, because we start to generate more space to allow more insight to come through. So when we're looking at our purpose, and soul purpose is such a key energy right now. There's many of us that are sort of in a lull, sort of in between worlds, if you want, trying to reevaluate who we are, what our role is, a lot making changes, but really unsure about who they are now. Now, for the most part, we have made just phenomenal leaps and bounds and steps in our journey of self-discovery. It certainly depends on each and every individual, what your particular mission, your learning curve, if you will, is here. And it's not going to be the same for everyone. So a lot of people are going to be shifting out of roles that they were playing or asked to participate in from the higher consciousness frequency standpoint. Certainly source guided and definitely divine in what we've moved through and into. Quite superb and quite simply amazing what is in fact possible when we declutter our minds, when we declutter our energies, and when we declutter our space. So there is a lot of this bouncing around between what should I do next. And, the most important thing is to realize that we don't have to have the answers immediately. The best thing to do sometimes is to be okay not knowing, to sit back more, relax, and let the unknown unravel. Now, this can be challenging because we want to be in control and continue to move forward, but the answers will appear if we allow space. So that's a key thing. It's hard to trust something unknown, and that is what I'm feeling right now, is a lot of people are just so unsure about so many things. But we have to trust the process. We have to trust the universe. We know it is a kind force delivering us to this better new earth, this place that we've been really tasked with understanding ourselves through. Each individual is a healing person or a healing journey, which is rolling out to the bigger picture, to the as above, to the collective conscious. And the more we do this, the more that we're bringing light to this world and to this collective, and that's happening very, very powerfully right now. So if we're not 100% sure what to do, let's sit on this a little bit longer. Always, if you feel energized to take action on something, especially if you're not 100% sure, you really don't have a lot to lose. I mean, certainly sitting too long in a comfort zone isn't going to produce any dramatic changes in your life. So if you are looking for big change, then hop on that change bus. Let me tell you, that is definitely an effective way. If you are feeling that you have made significant moves and changes and don't know what to do next, then sit in that discomfort, because there is a message in that for you as well. So that is a little bit about the purposes. That is really starting to shake down, and roles are changing dramatically. People are all called forth for different particular reasons on this journey. So it's important that we really respect those who have different journeys, have different missions here, and respect them for what they bring to the table. The other really big energy is truth. And, this is obviously front and center. I don't live in a vacuum. I always try and keep a positive perspective, and the primary reason for that is because it has been the way that I have been able to overcome some significant run-ins with dark, evil, sinister type of behaviors. Now, this runs at a frequency that we can choose to definitely rise above by not living in fear. But the truth is, as we increase our frequency, as we become more awake to what we actually truly know, right? This is so important, so important right now, more than you can imagine, is to know what you know. So what you know, what you feel you know, is where you need to believe and trust. This can be related to information, your environment, people around you, anything like that, is to just truly believe in, first and foremost, your own thought process. So we are, moving through all of that. But, truth be told, back a little bit to my story, is, many of you know that I have been on, sort of this radical change in self, this transformation that was triggered through having a heart transplant, 6 years ago. And certainly I have had my share of living at death's door. Now, I can say, and I will be talking about this more from my mission here, which is somewhat shifting, I think, into really understanding the power of our quantum heart. And that is where I'm at, strangely enough, was brought forward through this process. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes of a transplant recipient, that is for sure. But the energy from source, the energy from higher self, is really available regardless of your situation. So I really want you to remember that, especially as a highly sensitive person, it is within your power to change your perspective and environment, in some cases by listening less to others, because as a highly sensitive person, some call it an empath, we absorb energy so very easily. I mean, a lot of this has to do with our childhood and not really having learned how to emotionally, have grown into understanding how to manage our emotions properly, had some sort of trauma associated there. But as a highly sensitive person or empath, we tend to, sometimes, again, this depends on some of your planets and their positions, but we tend to absorb others' thought processes so very easily. So when they make a comment, we take it as true. And in some cases, this isn't in your best interest. So again, there is the only fallback position here is trust in yourself. First and foremost is your gut feel and knowing, especially as an empath or a highly sensitive person. You are highly attuned to this, but what we really need to relearn, has been a big part of my process, is how to tune and tap into your true self and to really pull yourself into the direction that you want to go. And that direction and that energy can be whatever you want it to be, as long as you are able to manage that process by tuning out which doesn't feel right and tuning in which does. And it sounds very, very simple, but it is definitely a challenging feeling kind of energy. There are others out there who are purely cognitive. So sometimes they are driven by simply their mind, by no emotions, just by cognitive reaction, and sometimes that is all just learned and robotic behavior. So they may appear to be empathetic, but in reality, what they're doing is they're playing on your energy and your reactions. So it's really important to sort of understand that vulnerability is talked about a lot, as you need to be completely open and vulnerable. I did a video on this months and months ago, but we also at this time need to be a little bit wary, because there's so many different energies at play right now, that although we may be vulnerable and able to show our vulnerability to some people, it's also an area where it can be used against you. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying it's energy management here, folks. And you certainly understand. I think if we listen carefully enough, feel those around us, we really start to excel at this gift. And really understand the value it's bringing to the world. And truly, as we all edge along here in our self-mastery of our energies, of understanding that there is so much bigger going on here than what we see. It's what we feel. It's what is unseen is where the magic is happening. So there's a lot of information I've been sharing here in this one upload, but I had to come on, and I used to do rants, for those who've been following me for a long time. And this is like one of those rants, so it's not meant to be tied up in a nice little perfect bow, but just to share what is on energetically. It's continues to be and will be for the next while a hugely powerful time. So stay in your own zone of power, and remember that each moment is precious as a gift. Connect with nature and bring yourself back to really, 0 point, right? We've been distracted from this capability. We all have capability of 0 point. But there's been so much going on, and I think part of what we're experiencing here is as more and more people understand 0 point, or being in the now, some call it, this whole idea that we are creating in this perfect moment now, then there's been so much taking us away from that. We know it's our innate ability. So remember, even just to, remember what being in the now or 0 point is really about, because that takes practice to zoom back in. I mean, you don't have to be a meditative expert to do this. You just have to be aware, awareness of where your thoughts are going. So anyway, guys, I certainly will be back with more. And I really look forward to talking to you, and I hope everybody has a great rest up day. Okay, bye.